material changed based value engineering. Okay, on your left hand side it is expensive, on your right hand side it is cheap. So for all the HVAC, we will try to cover all the HVAC section, and we will see what are the expensive items and what are the cheaper items, what are the cheaper options available for the value engineering. Okay, the first one is chilled water pumps. Now we will see for the chilled water pumps what are the expensive and what is the cheaper. What are the components for the chilled water pumps is, first of all, the type. What is the type of chilled water pumps? What is the material for the casing? What is the material for the impellers? And what is the material for the shaft? This is the four major things which has to be considered when you are pricing for the chilled water pumps. Our specification, they are asking for vertical chilled water pumps, SS316 or 304. What does it mean is stainless steel. SS means stainless steel, 316 is a grade, and 304 also is a grade. So that means it's a high grade stainless steel is used for your casing, impellers and shafts. Okay. So what is the cheaper option is the same thing. The cheaper option for the chilled water pumps are horizontal chilled water pumps. The casing can be replaced from stainless steel 316 or 304 to cast iron. Your impellers SS316 to your cast irons, and your shaft SS316, it can be replaced with the bronze material. And doing this value engineering, you will save almost 25 to 30% of your total price. If let's say your chilled water pumps is costing for the 100,000 dirhams, doing this value engineering, you can get the same pump with the same functionality in the cheaper option, almost like 60 to 70,000 dirhams. So this is what an impact of this cheaper option. Okay, so what, just keep in your mind, the cheaper option is horizontal type, cast iron, impeller cast iron and shaft bronze. If you see any of this, you can replace with this. Okay, and with this replacement, you can save almost like 30 to 40% of your cost of this particular item. Our next is in the material change based value engineering, your ventilation fans. Okay, what are the expensive options for the ventilation fans are fire rated type ventilation fans. Smoke fans, generally it has to be used for the fire rated types, but sometimes in the specification they will ask for the ventilation fan also to be fire rated type. So this is an expensive option, and if you change it to non fire rated type ventilation fans, it will be a cheaper option. There will be difference of almost 10 to 15% of this particular value engineering. The next one is your ductworks. So here we will see what are the expensive ductworks and what is the cheaper option for the ductworks. The first one is your stainless steel ductworks. Stainless steel we have seen in our chilled water pumps also. Stainless steel always a expensive one. Okay, so we will keep stainless steel ductworks in the expensive section in our left hand side. The next expensive option is your black steel ducts. This is also an expensive one. The next one is insulated GI ductworks. If you are using a GI ductworks with an insulation on top of this, that is an expensive option. Okay. Then aluminum ductworks. Aluminum ductworks also an expensive one. Okay. So what are the cheaper option for this is? The first one is your pre-insulated ductworks. In short, it is known as PI ductworks also. Okay, pre-insulated phenolic foam ductworks. These are the cheaper option. And almost in my experience, like I have seen almost like 80 to 90% residential buildings use pre-insulated ducts inside the building. Outside for sure you need to use GI ducts. Okay. But inside the building, in the air conditioning area, you can use a pre-insulated ducts. Pre-insulated ducts, like what we have discussed in our last lesson, is like a pre-insulated duct. It will come like in the range of 50 to 55 dirhams per square meter. But insulated GI ducts, it can cost around like you can say around 65 to 70 dirhams per square meter. So there is a very good cost savings if you replace your insulated GI ductworks to pre-insulated ductworks. The next is non-insulated GI ductworks. For the ventilation, like it is running only fresh air and your extract air only. Extract air is taking out your bad air from the toilets and it is supplying a fresh air to your building. Okay. So this is what a work for the GI ductwork. If it is mentioned in the specification, you need to insulate this GI ductworks. We can propose a non-insulated GI ductworks for the outdoor application. The next is non-coated fire-rated ductworks. Fire ductworks, it is two types. One is coated, other one is non-coated. So you need to check thoroughly in the specification what they have mentioned, whether they have mentioned coated fire-rated ducts or non-coated fire-rated ductworks. If it is coated fire-rated ductworks, you can propose non-coated fire-rated ductworks. Coated fire ductworks, it is coming around 150 dirhams per square meter, and non-coated one, it is coming around 90 dirhams per square meter. So there is, you can check like almost like 50%, almost like 30%, 30 to 35% cost savings. The next one in material change based is your ductwork insulation. In this we will see what are the expensive options for duct insulation. The first option for the duct insulation is your closed cell elastomeric insulation, or in short it is known as your rubber insulation. So this is what a expensive option for your insulation. Okay. The next is rockwool insulation. This is also a type of expensive insulation. Okay, which is used for the HVAC works, especially for the ducts. The next is your calcium silicate insulation, which is the most expensive insulation in HVAC works. This insulation will cost sometimes around like 60 to 70 dirhams per square meter. And your closed cell rubber insulation, it will cost around 33 to 40 dirhams per square meter. And your rock wool insulation, it will come around 26 to 35 dirhams based on the thickness of the insulation. What are the cheaper option is mineral wool fiberglass insulation. Mineral wool insulation, or in short it is known as fiberglass insulation. It is a yellow color insulation which is very cheap. The next one is phenolic foam insulation, which is also a cheaper kind of insulation. So if you see any of these insulations with big thicknesses, you can replace those insulation with this kind of insulation. This is a cheaper option. The next one in the material based value engineering is hydronic pipes. Hydronic pumps already we have seen. Now we will see hydronic pipes. What is the expensive option is black steel seamless pipes. Whenever you see a seamless pipes, it's an expensive option. This can be replaced with the ERW. And if you see a schedule 80, that means it's an expensive pipes. Schedule 80, black steel seamless schedule 80, it is not recommended for your building construction project. It is recommended only for your industrial project. If you're working for the rig project, like oil rigs and all, which is there in the oceans, in the marine applications and all, there it is recommended to use black steel seamless schedule 40. schedule 80, I'm sorry. If you find this kind of pipes, you can replace with black steel's ERW pipes or schedule 40. I'll tell you what is the difference. The difference between these two is like almost 40 to 45% in the cost. If for 20 mm black steel ERW pipe, it costs only around 12 or 13 dirhams only per meter. And black steel seamless pipe, it costs around 21 to 22 dirhams per meter. So this is what a difference between the cost. So how much cost you can save it. This is a kind of value engineering you need to use it. If you see any black steel seamless pipe, it can be converted into black steel ERW pipes, because seamless pipe, it is recommended for the marine application and your rig projects, but black steel, it is used for common residential buildings. Okay. The next is unnecessary requirement. Like if you open the specification, it is like a Bible. It will have everything. So there will be so many requirements which will be there in the specification, which actually not required for the project. The first is, let's say, any spare parts. So spare parts, it is not required. It is not recommended to use any spare parts for the project. So spare parts, if there is any spare parts required, we can remove those spare parts. The next is overseas factory visit. Like we have explained already what is overseas factory visit. Like person from the client or consultant will go to any other country to visit the performance of that particular chiller or whatever HVAC equipment. So in that, contractor has to bear the cost for the flight, accommodation and all this thing. Okay, so this can be removed. This overseas factory visit, if it is required for any other project, it can be removed. The next is extended warranty. Every HVAC project, every HVAC products, whether it is chillers or it is FCUs or if it is FHUs or if it is fan also, it will come with 1 year standard warranty. If a client is asking any extended warranty for the 5 years or 10 years, so if it is mentioned in the specification, we can remove it off. We will not provide any extended warranty, and this cost savings we will give to the client. The next is radiographic welding test. This is also a common requirement for the hydronic pipes. Whenever you are joining any pipes, you need to weld both the sides. So for checking this quality of this weld, there is one special test has to be conducted, which is known as radiographic welding test. Okay. So if this kind of requirement, if you see in your specification, this can be removed. The next is any stress analysis. What is stress analysis? Like for any of your fans, your ventilation fans or your smoke fans or your any fans, it may have any stress analysis requirement. It's just nothing, only like how much smoke it is coming in, how much smoke it has capacity to move out. So for that, for calculating that, there will be one software. This calculation they'll put in that software, and it will give a capacity of that particular product. Okay, so this is unnecessary requirement. Maybe we can remove it off. The next is duct cleaning systems. We have already seen in our last lecture, if you remember, like in our lecture number 1, there we have discussed about duct cleaning system. What is duct cleaning system? It is, there is some special vacuum which will like move inside the ducts, and it will remove all the ducts or all the dirts. Okay, so this will be unnecessary cost adding to your HVAC works. So this also can be removed. The next is duct and pipe aluminum cladding for the car parks. Some consultant may ask for the aluminum cladding inside the car park also. in the car park, if you have running a ducts, pipes and all, if it is running, so they may ask for the aluminum cladding also, which may not require. Aluminum cladding required only for the ducts and pipes running in the exposed area, exposed directly to sunlight, or in the mechanical rooms. There only you required an aluminum cladding. In the car park, you don't need to put any cladding for the ducts and pipes. Okay, so this also can be removed if it is required in the specification. The next is Varas certification for the walls. What is Varas certification is? There is one UK based organization who will certify a walls or any water equipment, and they'll certify this and they'll give a certification for that particular walls. This also can be removed, because if you need a Varas approved walls, I'll just tell you one isolation wall of 20 mm. If it is non-Varas approved, the cost will be only 25 dirhams. And if it is Varas approved, you need to pay 53 dirhams for 20 mm isolation walls. So the cost of that particular item, it will be more than 2.2 times, almost 2.2 times. So this certification, this requirement can be removed. The next is prefer local or Far East products. If let's say chillers, FCUs and all, if they are asking any UK imported products or any US imported products or any Western products, we can we can propose either a local made products like what we have discussed, like SKM and Troston, so many companies who is producing locally, or a Far East Asian products, the product which has a country of origin, either China or India. The countries, the products which is coming from these countries will have much more cheaper value than a product which is imported from US or Canada or from European countries. So this also a kind of value engineering we can give, and we can make very good profit for it. The next is any duct heaters required. Sometimes there will be client, they're asking for in the specification, they'll ask for the duct heaters also. This also can be removed. The next is any leak detection systems. If there is any leak detection systems required for that particular area or any particular room and all, this can be removed, because leak detection systems, generally it is not required for the residential buildings. If you go for any industrial projects and all, there you may require a leak detection system. There you cannot remove these systems. But for residential buildings, if we are talking about, we don't need any leak detection system. We can remove it off.